I went to the track this weekend, I went through the tents, and of course I bought some things. Let's go through it together. Hey everyone, it's Taylor Kitchen and welcome back to Above the Yellow Line, the show where we do motorsports media your way, talking about NASCAR all the time. And we're not talking about NASCAR news, industry stuff, whatever. We're talking about diecast, as you all know. I'm an avid diecast collector, and every time I'm able to go to the track or have a race weekend as a fan, I take full advantage of that, save up, and I spend my money on diecast. To some of you, that's acceptable. To some of you, it's like, oh, spend your money on something better. But to me, diecast is what makes me happy. So we bought a lot of diecast this weekend, from 164s to 124s. I also took a trip to Lionel before the race started for the Xfinity Series. So I have a lot of stuff to show you all. So let's get started at least with the haul of things I got at Lionel. Lionel Racing was having a sale this weekend of 15% off their regularly priced items on top of some stuff in their discount bin. So I went through it all and came home with 5 164 diecast, starting off with this Cole Custer Andy's Frozen Custard 00 car. I gotta tell you, since moving to North Carolina, I've missed having Dairy Queens on like every corner. I feel like that's just the normal in Ohio, but here it feels like it's Andy's everywhere you go. And I freaking love this ice cream. So of course I had to get the car just to commemorate that. But a really cool paint scheme, probably one of my favorites that they run every single year. I know this isn't an exclusive to Cole Custer. It has been, I believe, this year, but in the past, other drivers have run this scheme. But it's such a fun one and I love it so much. Let me get this out of the box. So here is the car out of the box. I have been a stickler for quality for some of the Lionel stuff, and I will have to say everything I've seen so far from them in 2024 that's come my way or that I've sought out has been really good. So I'm happy that this was printed really nicely on the car, this scheme. So love it very much and very happy to add this to my collection. I didn't totally realize this until I got home and looked all these over, but I got a lot of number ones this weekend, from Sam Mayer, the Tim McGraw standing room only car, to Ross Chastain, his patriotic scheme from this year, as well as his win at Nashville scheme. Let me get these out of the box for you all. So the reason why I got this Tim McGraw paint scheme is because I like Tim McGraw. I love country music. So this was just a no-brainer for me. This was actually in the discounted bin at Lionel, which I was pretty shocked about. But it's not a bad scheme at all. I feel like you don't see a lot of pink and orange on paint schemes anymore in this way. I know you have some pink and orange on like a Parker Kligerman paint scheme sometimes or something like that. But this is just really fun, really cool, unique. So definitely had to add this one to my collection, also just, of course, because I love Tim McGraw. And these are the 2 Ross Chastain cars that I added to my collection. The Nashville win over here and the Worldwide Express win right here. Typically when I add cars to my collection, specifically with 124s, they are strictly and only either cars that have really important sentimental value to me, or they are cars that I have seen in person go to victory lane. So when I look at cars for 164s, there are other paint schemes I think are pretty cool, which in this case would be this Worldwide Express patriotic scheme. Of course, there wasn't a win in this scheme, but I do love collecting the patriotic schemes, so had to get this in the 164. And then for me, with Ross Chastain's Nashville win, I just love that one a lot. So wanted to add this one to the collection for sure. Speaking of cool paint schemes that I had to have diecast of, this Built Submarines 2024 Brad Keselowski paint scheme, I just love it. The chrome green, you can't go wrong with that, and that's why I love RFK's designs, is because they add in the chrome, whether it's a silver chrome or it's the chrome green, you cannot go wrong. But this is one of the paint schemes that I loved, and I was contemplating getting a 124 of this scheme because I loved it so much, but ultimately I decided to kind of go the route of saving some money because at the end of this video, I have a diecast that I've been saving up forever for, that I'm so excited to show you I finally got. So to save money, I ended up getting the 164 of this one instead. That's it for my purchases at Lionel, and then of course we went to the track for the Xfinity Series race. But we went really early so we could take our time looking through the tents across from the track. And that's where, if you guys want to know where I got that bumper that I had in the background of a lot of my videos months ago, that's where I got the bumper from. A lot of my diecasts behind me are from those tents as well. You get really good discounts on these diecasts because they are secondhand. Some of them can be very heavily upcharged, but a lot of times you're going to get deals at these tents. And that was definitely the case. First stop we had to make, of course, was to Mead Motorsports. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I had stopped collecting 164s for quite some time because I just didn't see the value. They were sitting in tubs in my basement and they weren't seeing the light of day. And then Rob Branning and Adam Lucas wrote me back in. Rob Branning wrote me back in the fact that he created these really cool displays, and I have a DIY on how to create these on my social media pages, but it allows these 164s to be displayed in such a cool way that lets them see the light of day, and it's just super cool to look at. And Adam Lucas, of course, he started pairing some of his diecast 164s that he had with maybe some pictures that he took. I know Rob is doing the same thing. He also started to just display them in really fun ways with victory lane photos. So they wrote me back into it, and this is the haul from Mead. We're going to start back in 2021 and work our way forward, starting with this Kevin Harvick Freaky Fast Jimmy John's Ford 164. This is just a paint scheme that I love, quite honestly. And I feel like every time I'm at the tents, I have to get something Kevin Harvick, and I don't know why. It's just what ends up happening. And I will say I already have one of these diecasts, but I have one from years prior. I don't have one from 2021. So I decided to get more recent with it, but this is the Kevin Harvick Jimmy John's diecast. Let's move on to the year 2022, and of course, I had to get the Eric Jones Darlington win, where he became a two-time Southern 500 winner, and then I had to get Chase Briscoe's first career victory in the Cup Series, diecast his Phoenix win. If you weren't cheering and screaming your head off watching the end of this race, I don't know who you are, because at this point we were all Eric Jones fans. Seeing him win after, moving from Joe Gibbs Racing to Petty GMS and just wanting to see him succeed, and then him getting this win in the 43 was so exciting. And he did such a good job that race, and I just wanted to have this diecast because I remember watching that race and being like, that Jones boy is back. I know they've had a tough year in 2024. I understand that. But when I saw this scheme this weekend, I was like, man, I feel like I need to get this one. So very excited to have this one too. The confetti is always super cute on these victory lane cars. But yeah, very excited to add this one to the collection. Same story for this Chase Briscoe diecast for his Phoenix win. When he moved up to the Cup Series, I wanted to see him be successful, and this was the first mark of him being successful. And the other reason why I got this, of course, was, Stewart-Haas Racing is going to be no more after this season. So I try to kind of go after as many Stewart-Haas type of things I could this time around at the track, just to make sure I had enough of that stuff in my collection. But this race one car is super cool. Again, confetti, gotta love it. But yeah, the Chase Briscoe Phoenix win was a must-have in my opinion, but it was a super cute add to the collection. Now we move on to 2023, where we have two Chris Buescher diecast, one Ryan Blaney and one Dale Jr. Let's start off with the Chris Buescher diecast that I got. This one from Daytona, the Coke Zero Sugar 400, and this one from that Richmond race in the fall. The Richmond one, at this point, I was like, okay, Chris Buescher is going to go very far in the playoffs. He's winning them left and right. He's doing so well. This could definitely be it, and unfortunately, wasn't totally the case for RFK last year, but nevertheless, I think this is one of my favorite Fastenal schemes that we've had in the sport. I love the hexagons on the side of the car and how that kind of fades through. Just overall, again, RFK does such an incredible job with their paint schemes, and same thing with this Fifth Third Bank scheme. It's probably one of my favorites that they've ever had. I just like the flow of the white to the green to the blue, and then you have that kind of checkered flag pattern on the side too, which is really cute. So definitely one of the schemes that I love. Love the race winning schemes a lot more. Love all the confetti. Let's move on to this Ryan Blaney body armor diecast. Now, every time before I go to the track, and I know I'm gonna buy things, I look through my collection, take stock to make sure I'm not getting duplicates of anything. And I'm shocked to say I did not have this one. So I looked at the track and I wanted to make sure that I didn't have it. Funny enough, I didn't. So now I believe I have most, if not all, of the Ryan Blaney 164 body armor diecast. At least I hope I have most of them. But this one was pretty cool. I love the yellow lines on the side of this. Looks pretty unique, going to the nose of the car. Something pretty cool. And then, of course, the snap-on hood. Again, just a diecast that I loved a lot that I did not have. And finally, from 2023, this Dale Jr. Sundrop diecast. Can't believe I didn't have this one already. And I don't need an explanation for this one. This was a must-have. If you don't have this one, what are you doing? You need to buy it. I wanted the 124 of this one, I'm not gonna lie, but I settled for the 164 because I saw it. There was not a whole lot left, so I made sure to grab it while I could, and it was decently priced at Mead, so I went ahead and got this. Last but not least, for my buys at Mead Motorsports, I have 5 164s from 2024, starting off with this Dawson Sutton late model Rackley War number 26 car. For those of you who know me and my work experience outside of what we're doing right now, which is making a video and chatting, you all also know that I do social media and PR for some drivers, and I spent about a year working with the Team Hornaday development drivers, which Dawson Sutton is one of them. So I felt like I needed to get this die cast just to commemorate my time there before I moved on to another opportunity. But let me take this out of the box. It's been really cool to see the past few years how much more Lionel has been producing some late model cars. I know they are expensive and they're not easy to produce, but they're really fun to add to the collection. So very happy to have this one here, as it's just really cool. Next up, we have 3 just standard 164 schemes for 2024, a Nick Sanchez Gainbridge truck, a WeatherTech SVG Xfinity Series car, and a Noah Gregson Bass Pro Shops Ford. So nothing totally special about these. They're just paint schemes that I really liked. I want to get this one out of the box specifically because this has to be one of my favorite just modern paint schemes ever, and it has to do with just the red chrome number. It looks so good, and I'm very excited to see WeatherTech moving to the Cup Series with SVG and then also sponsoring Connor Zilic in the Xfinity Series. But this scheme just looks so good, so I'm very happy to have this one and add it to my collection. We do love SVG here on this channel, so excited to have this one and put it in the display somewhere. And last but not least, from Mead Motorsports, we have this William Byron 2024 Daytona 500 winning car. No real explanation to why I got this one. I just really like the scheme 1 and 2. It's William Byron winning the Daytona 500. Like, that's a pretty freaking big win for a driver who I believe is going to be a future champion. So had to add this one to the collection, and it looks really, really good too. We'll get back to the diecast in a second, but I did also get a hat this weekend. This Old Spice Tony Stewart signed number 14 hat. Again, goes back to the idea of getting as much Stewart Haas stuff as I wanted to get or could get this weekend, but this was a definite must buy. You all know that I'm a big Terry Labonte fan and I love the Kellogg's paint schemes. So when I saw this and it was only like $5, I had to buy it. Now this 124 scale 1955 Chevy Gold car here is not rare. There were 5,000 of them produced, but again, it was Kellogg's scheme something. I could not pass it up. This was made for NASCAR's 50th anniversary, and it's just so cool. Something really cool to add to my Terry Labonte collection that you can see right here. I'm gonna probably need a bigger shelf to put all of these on because I got a lot of Kellogg's stuff on the way. But nonetheless, a very cool addition to the collection, something a little unique as opposed to the stock cars that we see on the shelf behind me all the time. Just something kind of fun. I did have my eye at a local flea market on a golf cart that was Kellogg's as well that I thought would be cool to add to the collection, but I went against it as that was pretty expensive. With this only being $5, I had to have it. Last but not least, so some of you might already have seen this on social media, but this is the big one. This is the die cast that I have been saving forever to get, and I couldn't find it. Everything's pre-ordered right now, and I wanted to get this one in person, so I finally have it. This is the die cast of my dreams. You all know how excited I was to learn that Kyle Larson was running a throwback scheme to Terry Labonte's Kellogg's car. So you knew I had to get this die cast, and it is finally here. I got this at the Hendrick Motorsports merch hauler that they had at the track. I scanned the tents, and every vendor, I asked every single one, and they said, we have not gotten our shipment of them yet. We don't even have them, or if we did, we had the liquid color, and we haven't gotten it anymore. So the only option was to go directly to the source and go to the Hendrick Motorsports trailer, and lo and behold, this was here. This paint scheme is so important to me because when I was a kid and I didn't really know what NASCAR was, there was 2 things that drew me into motorsports as a whole before I really got into it in 2016. That was the Cars movies and playing with diecast when I was a kid, whether it was in the mud, in a sandbox. I played with Hot Wheels and diecast and everything like that. And one of those that I remember sticking out to me was the Kellogg's diecast. I didn't know who Terry Labonte was. I didn't really know what NASCAR was at the time, but I knew that Kellogg's car was so iconic to me. So then when I got more into the sport and I was like, oh, Kellogg's car, Terry Labonte NASCAR, awesome. And then to see Kyle Larson announced earlier this year that he was running a Kellogg's throwback scheme, it was like a full circle moment for me. And then to see Terry Labonte and him, I guess, twinning at the track, both in the Kellogg's fire suits and stuff, like, it was just the coolest thing ever. And since that announcement, I knew I had to get this die cast, and to have it in my possession and then going to display it on the shelves is such a big deal to me, and it's so cool. I am thrilled to have this one, and it looks so badass. If you have the chance to buy this die cast, I highly recommend it. It is flawless. That does it for my merchandise haul from the ROVAL. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you want to share your collections with me, click the link in the description below where you can submit photos and videos of your collections. I'll go through them and make a video about them all during the off season. You also might be thinking, hey Taylor, that's a pretty cool hat you have on, and I know. I love this hat so much, and it has a good cause attached towards it. Every time you purchase a hat on the Above the Line store or a sticker with this car design on it, all proceeds go towards Dysautonomia International to help support Dysautonomia Awareness Month. It is an illness that has impacted me and several others around the world. And all this month, myself and all of us at Above the Line are raising awareness to help promote awareness, advocacy, and advancement efforts for dysautonomia. So make sure to purchase your hats on abovetheline.com/store, and all proceeds go towards Dysautonomia International, the leading organization to help support those with dysautonomia. But that does it for me for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends and family, and I will see you all next time. Bye.